Good afternoon. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to all our spouses. We have a really packed agenda today and a good program. Our invocation this morning is going to be by Captain Anthony Barnes.
Hey friends, how we doing? Anthony Barnes, Salvation Army. Excited to be here with you today. Excited to have Rick with us here. I've been asked about 4 times, how does it feel to have the competition here? And I said, it's not competition at all. It's absolutely co-partners in serving the community. And I'm so excited about that. So I'm glad he's here with us today. I get to share the invocation, and I don't want to steal any thunder from anyone who's doing the invocation next week that probably is going to tie into Valentine's Day and love. So I'll share something adjacent to that. For the Salvation Army, the other side of what we do, aside from serving the community, is actually existing as a church. And in our church, we're focusing on these different Christian disciplines, the most recent of which is mercy. So I just wanted to share a simple quote by the co-founder of the Salvation Army, Catherine Booth. And she says, "Show mercy. No soul was ever made poor by loving too much or injured by forgiving too often." So just as a reminder, especially in our society today, where things can get a bit heated, let's practice showing mercy to one another and to those we encounter. Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you first and foremost for your mercy, for your grace, and for all that you do in our lives. And we thank you for the opportunity to come together just as this, to discuss and to discover how to serve the people in our community and the communities beyond our community and to the ends of the earth. We ask that you continue to empower and encourage us to do that and provide the means to make that happen, and that you would count us faithful in all that we do. We thank you for all that you are in our lives. We thank you for each person present and for those who are not able to be here today. May the truth of what we do here in Rotary continue to live on. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Anthony. Our song leader today is Jerry Engel. Sing fast.
Okay. I'm not standing on a ladder in case you didn't know. But let's just sing the 1938 famous "God Bless America." That's when we were at war, and I think Stu gave us the words when it says, as the wartime leaders that we gather far across the sea, let us all be thankful for a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we sing and raise our voices in a human prayer. Let's go. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie, to the ocean white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, Jerry. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Thank you. Our Sergeant at Arms today is our President-elect, Tony Kern. Thank you. David Jones. Well, we're introducing the international guests. Will you take your people and do your thing? And Tony, take the mic to Bob Warner, please. We have an international guest today.
It's a new year and Mary is here from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Say it.
Okay, well, I'm just happy to be back here. And I'm going to be here for 3 months. And, everything's great in Las Vegas, including the weather. And I'd like to wish everybody a happy Valentine's. I actually got here before the actual day. So happy Valentine's, everyone.
And happy birthday coming on.
Welcome back. Do we have visiting Rotarians today?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jordana Lane. I'm the immediate past president for Las Vegas Southwest and current president of the SOAR committee. I actually have a flyer on the table. We're doing our gold raffle on Thursday, March 2nd. It's actually at Celebrity Cars. So those of you that know, that is a Rotarian owned business. I don't know if he's here. If you'd like to buy a ticket, they're $100. We're raffling off $10,000 worth of actual gold. It's free to attend. And we serve hors d'oeuvres and cocktails. So should be a fun time.
Thanks, Jordana. And save a ticket for me, would you? If I don't get to see you.
Hello, I am Tanya Waggle. I am from the Las Vegas After Hours Club, and I'm actually here to present our flag, as well as to transfer from that club to your fabulous club. And I just want to thank everyone for welcoming me warmly, and I hope to attend your anniversary events coming up.
Thank you. And we can get a flag from Sean. Thank you. Are there any other visiting Rotarians? Do we have guests? Well, we have a lot of guests of Rotarians. Do we have guests of the club, Melanie?
We have several guests of the club today. We have David Langdon. He's an insurance broker. He's here for his first visit. I am going to have, and Rodney Tucker is back as a guest of the club. And then I'm going to have the other members of the club introduce their guests as their guests of the club. So Jason has his friend Brian.
Hello, everyone. Jason Frederico. I have my best friend of 35 years, Brian Morris, owner of ProGrade Carpet Cleaning. He's put up with me for a long time. Thank you for being here, Brian.
And Larry has his friend Fred.
Thank you, Melanie. Hello, everybody. I want to introduce my friend Fred Simons. Fred and I have known each other for several years, and this is his first Rotary Club meeting ever, in spite of the fact he's been in Las Vegas for 35 years, and he's a professional networker. So it's pretty amazing. I'm thrilled to have Fred here.
And then David Jones has a guest.
Thank you, Melanie, who doesn't do Valentine's Day, but she got a rose anyway. So congratulations. My guest today is my boss, the Nevada president for Nevada at Northern Trust, Paul Johnson.
All right, thanks, David. Great to be here. I've heard a lot about this club from Randy Campanelli, who's looking very relaxed over there in retirement. And good to see you, Randy, and great to be here.
Thank you.
And
Welcome.
I'll just say, because I said it before, my sweetheart didn't make it today. She chose to stay home with our grandson, who's 3 months old. So instead of my sweetheart being here, I'm going to give this rose to a sweetheart of a guy, my boss, because I need to earn some points.
Nice kissing up, David.
Katie, are you doing something different with the spouses? Because there's a couple of people with spouses.
Let's go ahead and introduce the spouse
I'll just go to
or
table.
guest. Yes.
Okay.
Starting at the back table, do we have any spouses here? Yes, of spouses, yes of, okay, you're taking Aaron, okay. That's one table down. How about here? We know that John Williams does.
My special guest is my wife, Ivy.
Welcome, Ivy.
Any other spouses or guests?
Arlene
Okay.
is right by you.
We've got Arlene.
So as usual, I have my favorite person in the whole wide world, Michael Gagnon.
Michael.
Any other spouses on this table? No, going to this table, no spouses. This table, we have spouses.
I'd like to introduce the former Miss First Lady from 10 years ago, my wife, Sally.
Sally.
And I have with me my sweetheart of 31 years, Tom Wisenhunt.
Tom.
I have my bride of 54 years, Pam.
Moving right along, spouses not at that table, no spouses at this table. Do we have, wait, we'll do a special down later.
That's later.
Okay. We have a couple of guests of the club. May I go backward?
Fine.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'd like to introduce Angie Pacelli, the new Development Director with the Boy Scouts.
Hello, and I would like to introduce my boss, my special guest, Joyce Smith, the Managing Director at Bank of Nevada.
Welcome.
President, okay, spouses going once, teachers are a separate order. Spouses over here. You look familiar. Any spouses? No spouses? That's teachers are having their special thing. I
Okay,
think we've
do
done.
we have any other guests, Rotarians? Okay. Let's move on to the announcements. Melanie Muldowney, tell us about the orientation.
We had a new member orientation on Tuesday night. It was at Tom Krobe's house, and apparently the potato bar was really well received, so that was great.
Yes, it was.
A lot of people came. We had some very inspirational stories. It was great to welcome new members, Larry and John. Unfortunately, those are the only two members, so they got quite celebrated. So I hope they feel really welcome to our club.
Thanks, Melanie. Yesterday morning, 5 of us were able to go to the Smith Center and volunteer for the student matinee performance. There were 15 school buses, 1,290 children were there.
Wow.
So good job for us. Tina, the centennial announcement. No food. I just wanted to remind everyone that the deadline is looming to advertise in the program. Deadline is March 1st to let us know, and then March 15th to make corrections. So get those ads in. We're doing the layout now, and it's going to be a fabulous book. Everybody's going to look good in there. Oh, yeah, okay. I was going to say, well, yeah, you can sign up in the green book. Emails work as well. I was just going to say there's different size pages. You know, there's full page, quarter page, etc. And those of you that may not have a business like myself, you may just want to do a business card size and say congratulations to the club. That's welcome as well. Okay, Jason Federico has a little treat for us, an opportunity for us.
Thank you very much, Katie. I appreciate you.
And he's
allowing me
getting
to,
fined for it too, so,
Bring it on.
okay.
I am the president of a nonprofit organization called the Gentlemen's League that I've been a part of for about 7 years now. Many of you will see the flyers that are on the table. We're doing a charitable event on May 6th. It is a golf tournament. It's to benefit the Children's Heart Foundation. We're expecting what we typically have, which is about 120 golfers, between 30 and 40 business sponsors. So for the first 4 Rotarians that sign up, I'm going to personally sponsor that foursome. We'd love to have as many of you as possible. So thank you very much. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Jason. Stu, will you speak about Reading Week? Where did you go?
There he is.
There he is. Oh.
Thank you, President Katie. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I want to call your attention to the slide that's up here in the front. The last week in February is Nevada Reading Week, and we have 4 of our served schools that are looking to have members sign up to come in for a meeting with one of the classrooms and reading a book. You bring your own, or the librarian will help you find one. We're hoping that we're going to get participation in all our schools. The way to sign up is really easy. Go to the link that's at the bottom, which is fifthwheel.lbrotary.us, and you can pick one of the 4 schools, or even better, you can sign up for all 4. And if you have any trouble remembering it, on the back of your wheel, you'll see very back is a QR code. You can just point your phone at that, and it'll take you to the same place. You can sign up for any of our 4 served schools.
Thanks, Stu. David, do you want to do a recap on the 25 Club?
Thank you, President Katie. On last Thursday, where's Nancy Anderson? Are you here? Okay, Nancy's not here today, but we had a great 25 Club, or I want to say orientation, but educational / social. Jim Hunt get a great historic information about our club. And then we had, where are you, Carrie? Carrie's not here anyway, and Carrie did a great job of explaining about the committees and all the opportunities for service within our club. This, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'm going to do a recap, but I'm also going to do a pitch. In 3 weeks, we'll have our next 25 Club. It will be at Sarah Thornton's home, and I don't see Sarah here either. So it'll be at Sarah Thornton's home, and it will be sunset over Red Rock. And we're still putting it together, but we're going to have Ginger Anderson do our historical recap. And then we've also got Tom Probe, and I don't see Tom here either. Oh, there he is. There's Tom. And thank you, Tom. Tom has offered to give our brief educational regarding our bylaws and how we came to be. So with that, I'll give it back to you, Tony. Thanks.
The food was great. It went fast. It was Mexican food. So Nancy did great.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We have our school principals here today. Kathy, do you want to do the introductions?
Thank you very much, Tony. I'll give this to Stanica to start, and then we'll go on from there.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stanica, Principal Walter Bracken, and today I have my great 3rd grade teacher, Rachel. We're very excited to be here today. I want to take this opportunity to thank you with the Rotary money that we received. We purchased a Padcaster, and it's been phenomenal. Great usage at our school. We want to thank you so much for all the things that you do for us. Great celebration. Bracken was recognized by Magnet Schools of America as a school of distinction. Yay. So we will be proudly going to Dallas in April to accept our recognition and award, and we're really excited about that. 2 events coming up at Bracken. If you are bored, on Friday, February 17th, we're having a Valentine's Day dance. So you're more than welcome to come and visit us then. And like it was already reiterated for Nevada Reading Week, we already have a few of you signed up on our form that we sent out. So if you're ready and you can, we would love to have you read in our classrooms. Kids enjoy seeing others outside from the building and community members to come and read in our school. So thank you very much for having us, and always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Rigel Painter, the principal over at Walter Long STEAM Academy, and this is Ms. Robin Dolan, our 5th grade teacher, who oversees our Kitterack Club, who takes, yes, and so they model themselves after the Rotarians. And so I wanted to show her where the 4-way test originated, because the students recite that before every single meeting that they have. So, yeah. And Barbara was there last week. She did say that tears came to her eyes when she participated. So thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon. I'm Connie Nomura, and sadly, I'm not a principal. I'm the office manager for Hollingsworth Elementary. I do want to thank you for your invitation to join you today. And I do want to thank you for the $1,500 you recently granted us. We used the money to purchase some cameras and tripods and a green screen for a new program we're doing with our upper grade students. It's a news program that we advertise every morning. We started with just an iPad, and that little machine does a lot of crazy things, but you've provided us with real cameras and things like that. The kids are having a ball. The other thing is you did provide us with funds to purchase Rosetta Stone. We have a lot of parents at our building who do not speak English. So we're working really hard to help them with their English. It helps them with building a resume and maybe getting a job and working for businesses like yourself. I would like to introduce Carly Cottle. She's our behavior specialist, and she has an amazing program that she started this year.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. We just started Camp Hero. It's an incentive room at Hollingsworth. If you know where Hollingsworth is, it's in the heart of downtown Las Vegas. So because of our area, we do have a lot of students coming in who have experienced and still are experiencing different forms of trauma. And so that manifests itself sometimes in behavior. So one of the things we did to try to decrease that negative behavior we've been seeing is we created an incentive room. It's a room full of fun games. We have a hammock in there. We have trampolines. We have an Xbox, Nintendo, all of these really fun things that our kids love. And the goal is that when our students are displaying that positive behavior, they get to come to Camp Hero and spend time in there. And our kids absolutely love it. We've seen a high success rate with it. Our students, for them, it's like Disneyland. So they love it. And so thank you. I know we had some donors here, so we appreciate that. And yeah, we're excited to continue it this year.
Thank you.
And there's one more thing.
So as the assigned liaison to Hollingsworth School, I'm delighted to welcome our 2 guests. But as Connie mentioned, we have actually a grant. And I do have the check here that I want to present to them for the purpose that she talked about a few minutes ago. So thank you.
The grant sum is being asked $1,407.33.
Gary Voss has a presentation to make.
Okay. You want me to hold it for you? Okay.
Okay, members, if you would look at your badges, please, and see if there's a yellow sticker on it. If there is, would you please stand? Okay, fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen and guests, these are our Traverty Fellows that have put at least $1,000 into the Las Vegas Rotary Foundation
Endowment Fund.
Endowment Fund, correct. So thank you. And I would also ask you to check with Sean because many of you don't know it, but you're very close to that $1,000 level. So it would be, I would incentivize you to find out. You could bring it up and then you get a yellow sticker on your badge. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Mike Kudamat, do you want to come up? And we have a special presentation today.
Thank you, President Katie. Before I go on, we have a guest from Salem, Virginia, all the way from Salem, Virginia, ladies and gentlemen. But before I go on, let me just enumerate international services that we've been participating this year. We have been, we contributed a ICU ambulance in India through the work of our Rotarian Rampur. Rampur, please stand up and let's recognize Rampur for his work. And then we have also the medical mission in the Philippines last October. And then of course we have our Ukrainian relief fund. But right now, let me introduce to you Mr. Walter Hughes. He is from Salem, Virginia, retired from Salem, Virginia. This guy is a water sanitation expert. He's had 10 years experience in water sanitation projects in Africa. And has served almost 800,000 people in Africa, giving them water, you know. Let me introduce Mr. Walter Hughes, please. Let us see. Walter, go take care.
Good afternoon. How are you doing? I am so thankful for Salem. If you can understand, the internet is looking bad on my side. Mike, can you hear me? Oh. Mike?
Very clear, very clear, very clear.
Okay. So today I want to talk about and thank the Las Vegas Rotary Club for the contribution of your funds of $2,500 for clean wells in Africa. And we just give you thanks for that contribution. And I'm really impressed with all the work that you do in your community and around the world. And we are aiming towards a grant of $2,001, $201,000, which will give us 50 wells and hundreds of microflush toilets. And we just thank you today for that contribution to the Rotary Foundation.
Thank you, Walter. We're really happy to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. And happy Valentine's Day to all the guests.
Thank you. We're looking forward to hearing about the project.
Do I have a little more time?
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let me bring up the screen. Okay. So there's three amazing moments when you provide water to a community. You're able to see the drill rig come into town, and when it comes into town, they start drilling. And when the water pours out of that well for the first time that they're drilling, there's a huge roar that goes out of the community. And that's the first amazing moment. The second amazing moment is when you prime the pump on the well for the first time and water flows out of that pump. The women are in line ready to fetch the water, and the children are trying to get a taste. And that's the second amazing moment. The third is when the water is safe and you come back a year or two later and see all the children who are healthy and laughing and playing and going to school. So the grant you're helping to fund will impact 46,000 people. And we are hoping to drill 54 wells and build 506 microflush toilets with a budget of $201,000. And we're training about 378 people how to maintain those wells when we're done. And the microcredit lending, $137,000 of that budget is for microcredit loans for wells, for toilets, for homes, for farms and business women to be successful in business. And those loans will go through 2 rounds. Over $250,000 will be impact the community just through loans. And the payback rate is about 95%. And those loans will help women, shopkeepers, beauty parlor shops, farmers, and those homes with small businesses. And $40,000 will fund 12 charity wells, and about $18,000 will fund 51 charity toilets. And then the balance of the money is for a school toilet block and for the microcredit loans. And so I thank you today for your gift and your pledge. And so we'll submit the grant this month, and hopefully we'll have the Rotary Foundation approve that grant by May or June. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you. Thank you, Walter.
You're welcome. We really appreciate the partnership.
All right. We would like to hear from you when you get it going. Thank you.
Thanks.
So we are contributing 2,500 to this project. If any individual would like to contribute more, let us know.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'd like to take a moment and thank everybody that helped put the meeting together today. Kathy Mann and Bob Warner for setting up. Debbie Howard as our greeter. Tina Bishop sold tickets. Jason Federico was scribe. Our photographer, past President Jim Tucker, and Austin on the AV. Susan Ziobro and Michael Williams are picking up after the meeting today, so thank you for that. Our pot today, at the end of last week, was $3,487. And Sean, do I have tickets? Just a minor little hiccup. Got a lot going on today. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so for the chance to draw the Joker, the ticket is 1595520. It's a red ticket. Does anybody have a red ticket number 1595520? No guy? All right, I'm going to draw a ticket. All right. Okay, we'll try this one. The number is 1595739. Are you kidding me? Nobody has a ticket? The number is 1595739. Yes. Wake up. Okay. The ticket number for $50 in Lowry bucks is 4652064. Four six five 2064. What? Seriously? All right, there you go. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. And the ticket for the gala ticket that was donated by Tom Thomas, the number is 1595724. Okay. John Pally. Very good. Okay. Nikki Bates, would you introduce our speaker, please?
All right, good afternoon, Rotarians and sweethearts today, and all of our guests and teachers especially. It's so good to have you here today. I am honored to introduce our speaker, today, Mr. Rick Neal, the CEO of Goodwill of Southern Nevada. You can read his bio in the wheel, so I certainly won't do that. So I'll focus on 2015. 2015, when I first met Mr. Neal, I worked for the deputy superintendent of the Clark County School District. This strapping young man in uniform we're not so young anymore, Rick, came to interview at the Clark County School District. And I'll never forget feeling incredibly sorry for you. Rick was the first chief operating officer of the Clark County School District. Now, you guys, our school district is the 5th largest school district in the nation. And only in 2015 did we finally figure out that we needed a chief operating officer. So he had a hard road ahead of, but alas, he really got smart and ended up in 2019 over at Goodwill of Southern Nevada as the chief operating officer. I want to bring your attention to the 4-way test. The 4-way test is in our wheel, the Rotary wheel, every Thursday. You heard one of our teachers talk about kids reciting the 4-way test. John Hopke at our new member orientation on Tuesday, he teaches at UNLV. In the lesson that he was going to be teaching the next day to his students about leadership, What did he find in the textbook? The four-way test. What is the four-way test? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Rick exemplifies the four-way test, which, by the way, was adopted by Rotary back in 1943. But he exemplifies this four-way test in his leadership style and all that he has done in his relatively short tenure at Goodwill. The four-way test is not just a slogan, it's 24 little words. It reminds us that civility and sound decisions do not require multi-page ethics statements drafted by lawyers. The only thing ethical decisions require is a desire to do the right thing. And this simple test brings out the best in everyone who uses it. And I have personally witnessed this in all of my dealings with Mr. Rick Neal.
Can everybody hear me? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nikki, for that introduction. I really appreciate it. There's a lot more of me right now than there was in 2015, but I'm still trying to get back onto my running program. We'll get there. How many people have heard of Goodwill? Outstanding. Okay, so I just have to gauge my audience. And some folks in this room have actually heard me speak about my organization before, so I will apologize in advance that you're going to hear some repeats. But hopefully throughout this, there'll be a couple of moments for a couple of you where you have the phrase in your head, I did not know Goodwill did that. And if some of you come up with that, I'll ask about it at the end. If you come up with that, then I will have met my intent, because my intent is to let you know about an organization that is working alongside you to try to make our community better. Now, community, that's an interesting thing, and you have an interesting speaker speaking about it today. As Nikki spoke, I was a military member. That's what brought me. And I was also a military dependent. My father was in the military for 28 years, and I was in for 25. So I never connected to a community. I considered myself from Charlotte, North Carolina before, because that's where all my family lived. But when I came to Las Vegas, when I came to Southern Nevada, fell in love, literally and figuratively, because I got remarried here. And I decided I was going to be a part of this community, which is what drove me to the school district in the first place. The issue there was I didn't really know how to connect with the community. That seems simple, but it is not. It took me 2 years to realize that the source of information might be the local newspaper and the local news. I never paid attention to it because I was only going to be there 2 to 3 years. I moved on after 4 years with the school district to Goodwill of Southern Nevada, and I didn't know a lot about Goodwill of Southern Nevada until I joined it. But what I found is an outstanding way to connect to the community. One of my commitments was wherever I decided to live and spend the rest of my life, I would not be a drain on the community. I would not be a drone to the hive. I was going to do something to make it better. And I believe I can do that with Goodwill, and I want you to know about it so that I can let you know how you can join us in that fight. So in the military tradition, you tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them what you told them. So this is what we're going to cover here real quick. Our basic philosophy, it was formed in a Methodist church, actually, by Dr. Edgar J. Helms. And this is really what guides most Goodwills. There are 155 Goodwill territories internationally. And they're called territories because this is Goodwill of Southern Nevada, not Goodwill of Las Vegas. We are responsible for the 4 southernmost counties in Nevada. Each and every one of us is a little bit different. There will be some things common to all. What might one of those things be? The stores. Yes, we all have thrift stores. There are Goodwills that only have 1 store. There are Goodwills like Northern and Central Arizona that have 110 stores. And then there are Goodwills like us that have 18 and growing. So everything on the spectrum there, the reason I point that out is because we are all responsible to our local communities. Our boards are local. Our focus is local. And saving the waste in both people and things, that is the bedrock of what we do of the social enterprise, which a lot of people don't really understand. As in fact, a lot of people didn't even know we were a nonprofit because we have stores and we generate actual revenue but we are still a nonprofit, and I'll get more into the explanation of that as I cover it down. So this is just real quick. 17 retail stores. Our clearance center is also a store, so that's where you get 18. Our attended donation centers, those are shrinking. Those are the trailers that are out there in the parking lot, sometimes in the sheds. And one of them may have been in your neighborhood, and then it got moved because we got told it's got to go. That's okay, because each one of our stores is also a donation center. 2 career centers. This is where I want to really focus, and I'll focus later on in my comments. The preponderance of my comments will be about the career centers and the training academy. Now, we do have an e-commerce center. We actually have an online presence. We sell both at shopgoodwill.org as well as eBay and Amazon. All right. So these are all things, but why are we generating that revenue? The revenue is there. The power, the things that I want to talk about the most, the career centers and the Goodwill Training Academy. Giving you a little insight as to how things work, right? Because has anybody ever donated to Goodwill? Outstanding. Thank you very much. And I mean it. Thank you. Because that powers the whole organization. Oh, right, that. Okay, I was making sure I hadn't pushed the wrong button. I'm going to do that before this is over. But I really like to take people through the donation cycle simply because there's a part of it that we never talk about. You drop it off. What happens after that? Well, there are people that we employ. A lot of folks say you get that stuff for free. We absolutely do. But from the time that you drop it off, there's a cost associated with processing that, getting it to the floor, getting the revenue back in, and getting the revenue into the community where it's supposed to be. So there's a production in the back rooms. Those are the folks, those are the majority of the workers that we have. And then we try to sell it. Anything that you donate, it's valuable to us. We try to get the most value out of it. The first place that we try to sell it is in a retail store. That's the thrift stores that you see, 17 of those. If it doesn't sell there, then there's that 18th store, the clearance. Now at clearance, things are sold by the pound, right? So if you, let's say, brought in shoes, and actually, even if you only have one shoe, bring the one shoe in. There is a market for single shoes. Kid you not. We'll sell it by the pound. If it doesn't sell there, then you'll see these large bales. Those are bales of cloth. Each one of those weighs a ton. We sell those by the pound also, slightly less. It is only after it has gone through that entire process does anything make its way into the landfill. Last year, we were responsible for diverting about 21,000 tons of waste from landfills because we sold it. So the sustainment portion of the organization, we really don't talk a lot about that, but that's an important part to maintaining our community also. I mean, good Lord is not making any more earth, right? So we can't keep making bigger landfills, all right? So it's just important that you know that when you donate something, it has value, and we try to get as much value out of it for our community. So I was pointing at the screen, and I think somebody moved my, I talked too long. Can you advance it one? No? Yep, that'll do it. All right. So again, that's just a nice number. Anytime they send the CEO out, they want to talk about stats and numbers. And 10 million items, yes, that's a great number, but it really doesn't have any value until you put it in the context. This diversion. That is actually a picture inside our warehouse, and the warehouse, I believe, is 41,000 square feet, and it is stacked top to bottom with the donations. One of the benefits of our Goodwill, because quite frankly, many of you know that this Goodwill went through some challenges back in 2017. I was the new CEO brought on to bring us from where we were to where we are. One of the things that has sustained Goodwill and everything that we do, so if you donated, if you shopped, if you supported us in any way, you're a part of that story. One thing that has sustained us is a very generous community. Right now, many of my colleagues out of those 155 are suffering through a lack of donations. We are not. Now, we never take those donations for granted, but they do power us, so we continue to ask for those donations all the time. But I want you to know that our community is very generous, and that's pretty remarkable given many of them don't really know what they're supporting just yet. They're just like, hey, generally, they're good guys, it's Goodwill, I'm going to support it. My mission is to make sure that they know what they're supporting, because if you know what you're supporting, you're likely to be a little more vigorous in that support. Now, this is probably a picture that most people don't associate with Goodwill. In Southern Nevada, our primary mission focus is workforce development. Now, that workforce development comes in many different ways, and we're going to talk about some of those in detail. But the reason that people end up with goodwill, there are a number of reasons. One is they have a barrier to employment of some sort. And I'll talk about those in detail in a little bit, right? What we're finding now, especially post-COVID, is we have some folks that are showing up and they're trying to transition to something that gets them out of a cycle of poverty. But it's kind of like the old Covey thing, you know, you were too busy driving to stop and get gas, and therefore you're broken down on the side of the road. There are people that are in a situation they cannot get out of only because they don't have the time or the resources to improve their situation. We help there also. This is the community impact sheet that you'll find if you ever look at our report, if you go to our website, and it talks to basically the numbers. These are actually 2021 numbers. The 2022 numbers are not final just yet. There's a key. If you went back and looked 2017, 2016, 2015, the numbers would be significantly larger. And I want to explain to you why they're smaller and growing. We changed our philosophy on how we engage the community. Before, we were primarily transactional. And we still provide some of the supportive services that I'm going to talk about. And I'm not trying to denigrate the work of the people that came before us. It's just a different philosophy. By transactional, what I mean is if someone came in and their barrier to employment was, let's say it was their work boots and their tools. We had a grant for that. We could buy them the work boots and the tools. Off they go. We called that a win, success. We had no idea what happened to them after that. Did they keep the job? Were they ready for competitive employment? Did they need anything else? We didn't engage again. What I found when I took over as the CEO is when I looked in Salesforce, I would see the same people coming back about every 90 days. And it was a different service that they needed. It wasn't that they were just coming back to get like, hey, give me more boots and I'm out here selling them. No. They kept losing their job. They weren't ready for competitive employment, or life happened to them and something else happened to them. And they just kept staying on this treadmill. My assessment and my staff's assessment and my board's assessment was as that's not who we wanted to be. We're actually trying to raise people up out of that situation so that we can get them into the cycle of giving. So we changed our philosophy, and that changed what we qualified as actually serving or impact. So it dropped a little bit. So if you have any of those data people that like to go back and run that line, you're going to see a significant drop, and now you're going to see a rise. We are doing much better in our community, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of how we're doing that. So you've seen this. Oh, wait a minute. I hit the wrong button. I told you I was going to do it. All right. So I just referenced the cycle of giving, and this is that cycle of giving. It's really kind of a chicken and egg as to where we start, but I like to start about you donate. People donate, whether they donate goods, whether they donate money, and I feel like I'm blocking this side of the room. I'm going to walk over here. All right. You shop. That's how the revenue is generated. And we train. That's the biggest part. A lot of folks don't know what we're training on or how we train people. We train people so they get jobs, and hopefully they get into a position where, number one, we've helped them, and number two, they're in a position where they can actually donate and support goodwill and support their community. Because I believe that there is a fundamental value of work, the dignity of work, but there's also a value, and I'm sure all of you can understand that, with being a proactive and productive member of your community. Right? Whether it was here in the United States in my civilian capacity or in the military overseas someplace else. When people are not engaged in their community, when they can't be, that's exactly how you marginalize people. And the next thing you know, those idle hands end up being problems. So we want to grow our community, right? And engage. So this is the mission statement. Military guy, most important thing is mission first, right? So we're going to put that right up. Impact of poverty. We do not believe that Goodwill of Southern Nevada is going to stomp out all poverty in Southern Nevada. We know we can't do it. And as Anthony pointed out accurately, we're not in competition with the others providing workforce development, not Workforce Connections, not Salvation Army, not other thrift stores. We're not in competition. I always say, I joke about it all the time. On the day that we have the last unemployed person in Southern Nevada, then I'll gather up all my competition and we'll get into the octagon and battle it out for that last one. Until that day, however, there is no need to fight. There is more work for us to do than any one of us can do. So I come from a place of collaboration and cooperation. You notice the focus on Southern Nevadans, and it's obtaining local employment. You know, I spoke with Tina Quigley from the LDGEA, and she talks about primary industries in Southern Nevada. In other words, an industry that both generates revenue, but the majority of the revenue stays here. We're one of those. We actually sell some of the donations to other Goodwills outside of Southern Nevada. The goods go out, the money comes in because that money is restricted. I'm not sure. Did I cross? All right. Okay. Yeah, you guys have me freaked out a little bit. All right. Okay. But that last key part, upward mobility, that's our objective. A lot of times I speak to people about workforce development here in Southern Nevada and our role in it, much like an on or an off ramp to a highway, right? We're not going to be the whole ramp. It takes us collaborating with a number of service providers to get somebody on the right path. But I like to think of us as the first 2 feet. If you've ever been driving on 15 and you're going up one of those ramps, imagine if the first 2 feet were missing. Okay, that'd be pretty hard on your suspension system. You probably would not make it up the ramp. So we're the first 2 feet. We're going to be in collaboration with organizations like the Rotary and with other organizations in our community to make it happen. Uh-oh, I lost it again. There we go. This is the vision. Don't need to do a lot of talking about that. I've been talking about this all along. Our whole community thriving. That's what we're looking forward to making happen. Yep. We got nothing. I'm going to need your assistance on this. Sorry. You know, it could be that I'm on this side. Yeah. No, I'm in it. It is the side. So we've got some stories. Now, LaToya is becoming more the rule than the exception on people that we've helped. You can see that she was a single parent, you know, 2 young kids. Okay, so she's on this treadmill. And she was one of the people that came back to us multiple times, just trying to pay for necessities. And so our solution was to give her more jobs so that she could spend less time with her kids so that she could pay for just the necessities, all the way up until about 2019. Then we decided, hey, let's find out what she wants to do. What skills does she already bring to the table? We put her through the opportunity accelerator, found out that phlebotomy was something that she was interested in and had an aptitude for it. Got her working on it. Bright career and a bright future, yes, but we maintained contact with her. And she still maintains the same job. Actually, she's been promoted twice since we wrote this story within the lab that she works in. Okay, and we have a number of those stories. That's the type of success that we're trying to generate out of Goodwill Southern Nevada. Oh, maybe it's not this side. Next slide. Okay. All right. What are the barriers that I kept talking about? Barriers to employment. You can see a number of them. Many times people have a weak or a non-existent work history. One of the groups that we help a lot are military families. Now, I said military families, not necessarily the veteran. What most people don't really think about a lot of times with military folks is most of them are on a fixed income. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I was one of them. I was not hurt. But if you make different decisions, if I'm a colonel in the United States Air Force and I've got 4 kids, great. My salary on that salary scale is usually meant to do that. If I'm an airman first class in the United States Air Force with 4 kids, that's going to be a challenge. And the only way that they can increase that revenue is if the spouse sometimes works. But what's the challenge to that? My mother suffered it, as did my spouse, right? Moving. You go in, you get a job, you're doing well, time to go. Or if you don't even get the job because the employer won't work with you, they're like, where do you live? Well, I live on Nellis Air Force Base. Yeah. So we work a lot with veterans family, near and dear to my heart, obviously. We work with those folks to make sure that they get that work history. Yes, we are an employer. However, I don't believe Goodwill of Southern Nevada will ever be the employer of choice, not in those stores. Some people love working with us. We've had people that were actually working for us. They got sent to us court order, failing to pay child support. They start working in our back room. Within 3 years, they're managing a store. Okay, that's a success story. They're doing their thing and they're moving on and taking care of their family. But there are others that are going to move on to another location, maybe working for one of you, because we taught them some of the good work ethics and the job skills. That's a success also. But we have to overcome these barriers first to make sure that these people can actually compete in the workplace. Next slide. Disability programs. We are partnered with CCSD. We have some disability programs. We're relatively small compared to, say, Opportunity Village. And that's, again, an intentional decision. Opportunity Village dominates and does well in that lane. So we support, we continue to work, but again, we're not trying to just stack services on top of services, the same service. We're trying to spread it out so we serve more people. But most of the time, what we're doing is evaluating people with physical and mental disabilities to actually see if they're ready for competitive employment. And if they're not ready for competitive employment, we actually have some employment for them. One of the questions that comes up all the time is, I forget what the article or the law was, but do you pay sub minimum wage? No. Goodwill of Southern Nevada does not, never has, never will. If someone works for us, the job is paid a minimum of the minimum wage, and most jobs are actually slightly above minimum wage. Our truckers, our industrial workers that work in our warehouse are actually paid a competitive wage, because if you did not pay that, you would not be able to keep it. Okay? But our stores are also learning and training platforms. Next slide, please. Our career services. So this is where we start getting into the meat of where we're helping the majority of the folks, and this is the majority of our mission. All right. Our career centers, we have 2 of them. You probably saw them in that slide early on when we talked about our stores. One is in the Boulevard Mall. It's inside the store, inside the Boulevard Mall. We are the only Goodwill with a store in an active mall. Boulevard is not the biggest mall, but hey, I'm going to take that victory. The other one is at Rainbow and Alta. Now, there are a couple places where we're not represented and we're trying to get some career centers. Number one, our headquarters used to be in North Las Vegas. It used to be at Cheyenne and MLK, and we used to provide services out of that headquarters. We had to move, lease was up, time to move, so we don't have a career center presence in North Las Vegas. We have a store, a retail presence, but not a career center presence. So we will return to North Las Vegas. We will also return to the east side with a career center presence, because that's those zip codes, that's exactly where we need to be. So we're trying to move our services, but right now, if you look at a picture of the valley, those 2 career centers are relatively central. It's just that if you don't have a car, or if you're riding public transportation, it can sometimes be an hour commute just to get in there to get the service. And that's where we start talking about barriers, right? Community-driven programs. This is something that we're kind of proud about, and we'll talk about it with the training sprints. Workforce development is supposed to be a triad between the worker, the employer, and the developer, right? There's 3 elements involved in that. Most of the time, what we did was a train and pray. We had the worker and the developer. Hey, what do you want to do? I'd like to be a rocket scientist. Okay, we make you a rocket scientist. Do we need rocket scientists hired in Las Vegas right now? Nope, we absolutely don't. Now we've just frustrated the worker. What we've done is brought the employer to the table up front. A lot of employers are suffering a lack of employees, and it's not that there's a lack of talent out there. You just got to get it. You got to make sure that you connect it to the employer. So we're working with employers. One of our largest employer partners right now is Intermountain Health. Our training sprints initially were driven by Intermountain Health. They built the curriculum. They told us exactly the type of person that they wanted, and we delivered it, and they hired them. I'll talk a little more in detail about that in just a second. But outside of the training centers, you see the Veterans and Program Services, military spouses, train to hire programs. That's the training sprints. We'll get into that. Next slide. Free services. Our services are actually free to all the participants, right? We have everything from resume writing to bus cards to, we've had some people that if they qualified for certain grants, some of the grants are funded by us, some of the grants are funded by the municipalities or the federal, so they set the rules. But we've had at least 5 cases during my tenure where one of those people caught in that cycle, they couldn't stop working long enough to take the class that was going to get them on the next path. So for 3 months for them training, after they qualified, we paid their mortgage so they could stop working. They got the training. The only requirement from us is after they graduated, they had to compete, get that job, and drive on. Just drive on, make your life better, right? Those are the types of services that we actually provide. We also provide safe clothing, things of that nature, where the people will come with a letter of intent for employment, but there's something that they need to get and they can't get it themselves. So we do that, vouchers for work, required work attire, work cards, all that stuff. Next slide. And then our professional development workshops. Some of those are standalone, the resume writing, the job of getting and keeping a job, those are standalone. But there are also some that kind of dovetail into the training sprints. They're the first part before we put somebody into an in-depth or an intensive training course. Next slide. Because many folks have not They've not been in school and they've not been trained in a long time. So the train to hire program, again, these folks are in scrubs, not because it's a costume, but because they're about to start their careers as medical assistants. Coming through Goodwill of Southern Nevada. Now, I told you Intermountain Health is one of our biggest supporters. We have both a medical assistant program, which Intermountain Health was heavily involved in. We have a certified nursing assistant program, which we have multiple. Marquee is probably the largest supporter of that one. But we took this program from the start for medical assistant. Our first job was to deliver. So they wrote the curriculum. We got the trainers. We partnered with another nonprofit, actually two nonprofits, Nevada Careers and Nevada Partners, to put that course on. We delivered the first cohort a little over a year ago. 100% of them made it through. 100% of them got hired. Our success rate is better than 80% for the medical assistant. It went from initially, maybe they'll become apprentices, to Intermountain Health building an apprentice program to accept them, to the current cohort, which I just spoke to right before I came over here. They are now being paid at slightly below the medical assistant rate while they're in training. Okay, so that's the guys up top. The guys at the bottom, stagehands. We did not realize that we had a shortage of stagehands in Las Vegas. And a lot of times that might not make a difference, but it makes a difference around here. Stood that program up. Most of the people that actually started that program were coming out of incarceration. They've all done well, better than a 90% success rate there. And let me operationally define successful. That means they got the job. They've held the job for more than 90 days. Most of what I'm talking about, all the cohorts we're talking about, it's been over a year. They've held the job and they've got at least one, maybe two prospects for promotion within said job. Okay, so again, now you can see why the numbers probably dropped, because that's a very expensive aspect, because we pay for the scrubs, we pay for the training, we pay for the certification test one time. If they have to take the certification twice, that's on them. We put all that up front to remove those barriers so that the talent can actually get through and get to the employer. Next slide. All right, we just talked about that. I'm not going to really beat that horse anymore. Next slide. And this is the Opportunity Accelerator. And all I'll say about this is just this formal way of bringing someone into a career center, into an employment opportunity, working them through. You see, the assessment plan is the first step no matter who comes in, right? Assess them. What skills are they bringing to the table? I will tell you, as a military member, many people undervalue the skills that they already bring to the table. They don't even talk about it. They're focused on what they want to do, not what the skills that they already have. We assess them. Some people are ready to go straight to competitive employment. Others, they need to go through that training and get into competitive employment then. So this is just a basic outlier of our process. Next slide. I already talked about this one. Next slide. Okay, and next slide. Okay, stagehand program. I just want to talk about it a little bit more. Rhino Staging was another employer partner that really jumped in there and said, hey, we will build the curriculum. I didn't even realize how much training it took to be a stagehand, but it is significant to keep people safe. So this is another success story of partnering with the employers. Next slide. Okay, couldn't do it without our community partners. Lots of folks up here. And you know, one-times, one-offs, there may be other folks that didn't even make these next few slides. Next one. But we have some significant, probably names of companies that you recognize. Some of you may even work for. I know I'm sitting at a table with one of, you know, yes, they're our banker, but they're also a partner. That's Bank of Nevada. They've been a long time partner with us, and they've been there through the tough times and the good times to get us to the successful point that we are at now. Next slide. And one more. There we go. So, how can you help? Keep shopping with us. Keep supporting us the way you always have. Spread the word. Okay, so let me ask the question. Did anybody have a moment where they're like, wow, I didn't know Goodwill was doing that? Okay, outstanding. I win. I get to go home after this and just take a nap. I don't even have to go back to work. I'm gonna put that down before I put it in my pocket. Sponsor a donation drive. Anytime, you know, sponsor a location for us to put a donation center. We'll pull a trailer out there. We understand that that takes up property. And sometimes, yes, we do have donors that don't behave properly, and they'll donate at 3 o'clock in the morning. And so we have to come and clean that up real early in the morning so you don't have something bad. But whatever you can do to support us, to include telling our story, we really appreciate that. Any questions? Yes. Can you advance the slide? Let me make sure I didn't. Yeah. Just go. I think it's on the side. There we go.
I have two questions.
Certainly.
How come all of your properties are located on what I would term expensive corners?
Great question. So not all the corners are as expensive as they may look. Some of them, though, I will tell you, how we got into trouble before was let's just say they weren't the strongest deals from a business perspective. All right. So we are trying to get to place. One of the requirements we look at is drive-by, because while the corners may be relatively pristine and desirable territory, if we don't have the drive-bys, people don't donate and people don't shop. So the stores are actually profitable on those corners. But yeah, if we put it too far back, folks don't see it, they don't get to it.
Thank you for coming and speaking with us today. Not trying to match the two or anything here, but I'm just curious. I know something that I'm very fond of that I know Captain Barnes organization does is like a lot of stuff for homeless, drug rehabilitation, things like that. Just so that way I and maybe some other people can be more familiar with more resources. Do you guys offer anything like that?
No, when people are in active recovery or active treatment, no, we don't have that, not at this particular Goodwill. There are Goodwills that do that. What we try to do is partner with, usually we want that continuum of care and support when somebody's coming out of that challenging situation. Like, say, for example, people come for employment. We have referred more people to housing shelters and housing referral agencies than most people would ever think, because they came to us for a job. As you're putting them through the accelerator, you find out that number one, they haven't eaten in a couple of days and they don't know where they're going to sleep. They're not going to be able to keep that job. So rather than putting them through it, we act as a referral agency in that respect, get them to the pros that can help them. And then we want to try to stay connected so that when they come out and they need that and they can actually sustain that job, we get to them that way.
Two questions. Certainly. What is the criteria for those going into your accelerator program, and what's your capacity? You can only handle so many.
Right. So the career centers actually have a pretty high capacity, because the Opportunity Accelerator, that's really the career coaches. Right now, we've upped it. We had 5 when I started. We have 14 career coaches now at both career centers, and we're actually providing services inside our headquarters. We built our own health services lab inside our headquarters to support the training sprints. So our capacity for bringing people in and assessing them is really the capacity of the 2 career centers. And that, I couldn't give you that in a day's, like how many people per day can come through. But at the end of the day, I don't think we're close to capacity on just people being assessed. Training is another matter. The cohorts, the medical assistant, the certified nursing assistant, we run 4 medical assistant cohorts a year. Right now, with the facilities that we own, that's the max we can do, because it's 90 days. We have 1 lab, 4 cohorts. We run every other month a CNA cohort, and both of those cohorts run around 15 to 20 people. The reason it's every other month is because we don't have the capacity to run them every month. If we had another organization that we could partner with, right now our partners, we're referring them, so everybody's doing a good bit of training. The story behind the CNA was kind of interesting, because the hospital system was saying, hey, we need 108 CNAs over the next 18 months. They looked into the pipeline. And again, this is not meant to be derogatory to my partners in higher ed, but between CSN and UNLV, they were projected to send out 12. And that's because that's what was coming in. It's not their fault. It's, if you don't enroll, you can't get out. So the pipeline didn't have sufficient folks. So we asked the question, okay, what's the minimum we could train them to get them to where you could take them from there and get them to their headmaster's exam and get them going, which is how these programs were born. But now they're at capacity. So really, when I talk to folks, a lot of times I'm talking about volume and velocity. We can sustain what we're doing right now at the rate that we're doing it right now for a good bit of time between the federal, state, local grants, philanthropy, and the amount from the stores. In the last year, it was about $1.5 million that came from the stores directly into training. It is projected to be $2 million this year. However, thank you. I appreciate that. My board appreciates it. However, if you want more and if you want faster, and when I say you, I'm talking about the community, that's why we're out there. We're still pushing for those philanthropic dollars, because we want to grow it. It'll only grow at a certain speed if we're left to our own devices. So there are some challenges on capacity.
Rick, thank you so much for being with us today. I had no idea the breadth of the things that you're doing and how you work with other organizations. So we appreciate you being here, and I'd like to present you a Soul Power Award, which represents a pair of shoes to a needy child in your name. So.
Can I take one more moment? Sure. So I said I was a veteran, and we have a tradition in the military. Anybody familiar with challenge coins? Yeah, okay. So we have a challenge coin at Goodwill of Southern Nevada, and on behalf of Goodwill of Southern Nevada, I'd like to present one to you for the entire Rotary. It's our coin. It's designed as is shaped like the state of Nevada, smiling G on the front, circle of giving on the back, and the Las Vegas skyline is in the background of that. And so I'd just like to present that on behalf.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned. We'll see you next week. Sorry. Oh, there's a meeting of the Centennial Committee in the back of the room immediately. Thank you.